Hey, what's good, fam? Kyle Henderson, Bama Insider. Actually on a morning walk, just a day away from the first Alabama football game of the season. Be sure and hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. We appreciate you guys more than you know. It's really amazing to think that we have 75,000 subscribers right here on our YouTube channel. Think about where we started, where we're going. Kind of like Coach Saban said, I love the process as well. I love the grind. I like to wake up. I like to schedule out my day. I like to meet with the team. I like to talk with Andrew Bone, Joseph Hastings, Clint Lamb, Jimmy Stein, high-level meetings, trying to push further. So we appreciate you guys. Long story short, hope you guys are enjoying the content this season. Really trying to take that channel to another level. I was thinking about this going into this particular game against Utah State. I think it's amazing when you think about when Bryce Young first got to Alabama. And this is really amazing. So Bryce Young shows up, freshman on campus, and who does Alabama pair him with as a roommate? DeVonta Smith. And I think that's so phenomenal. That's part of the process, right? Like they knew that DeVonta Smith had that leadership ability, had that iciness, knew what it was going to take to put in the work, to be a national champion. That Mamba mentality that I always talk about. And there's few people that have it. I think DeVonta Smith is certainly one. I've said that many times. You pair him with Bryce Young. Imagine how much Bryce Young learned from DeVonta Smith. And it's not like DeVonta Smith is the most outspoken individual. He's more kind of just, watch me. This is how I do things. And I think Bryce learned a lot from that first year being at Alabama, watching Mac Jones take that team to a national championship. What Mac Jones did on the field in terms of his leadership, trusting the process. That was an incredible team. And it still is upsetting to think that that team was kind of the COVID team, that they couldn't play in front of a full Bryant-Denny Stadium. Because I think when that team and when history kind of moves forward, when we look back in history, we're going to understand just how good that team was, right? Najee, Mac, what they did. It's an incredible unit. Took it to Ohio State in the title game, just really ran right through them. Then I was thinking about how Bryce Young has transformed from year over year and some progression of some other players, and particularly Traeson Holden, right? And I always felt that it was going to be Traeson Holden or Thao Jones-Bell or one of these receivers was going to eventually step up. That's been a little bit more mature. And we saw that Traeson Holden is that guy. And then I was thinking, I was like, you know what? He was roommates with Bryce Young. I think it was, if it wasn't last season, it was right after DeVonta Smith, then Bryce Young and Traeson Holden were roommates. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. The continuity, the cohesiveness of those two, right? If you played backyard football, if you played football at any level, you know that the best friends are usually the quarterback and the wide receiver. So I was like, oh, I get it. And I love the process of Traeson Holden now being here a few years and going into this game against Utah State listed as a starter. Alabama needed a wide receiver or two or three to really step up. We've seen that from Jermaine Burton coming in as a transfer. And now you're starting to see another wide receiver in Traeson Holden kind of break out. And players have breakout moments at different parts of their career. And I think with Traeson Holden having 200 yards or whatever it was in that scrimmage, you can hear the birds chirping this morning. Such a beautiful morning in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. He had 200 yards or whatever in that scrimmage against Alabama, right? So my point is, I think it's interesting to look at the progression of these guys. And they're no longer sophomoric. I think last year, you look at the leadership on this team, it wasn't probably where it needed to be. This year, they've had leadership from the jump. William Anderson returns as the best football player in the entire country. You have Bryce Young, returning Heisman Trophy winner. Those are your leaders. Those are your vets coming into camp. And the expectations are perfection. Yes, I get it. They're perfection every single year at Alabama, but this team particularly knows that that's the ultimate goal and there's nothing less. Look, I lived in Alabama, in Tuscaloosa, long enough to understand the mentality of this organization, as Nick Saban likes to refer to it. And it's simple. Focus on yourself. Focus on being the best version of yourself. And that is going to allow you to play at the highest level. And I think it's amazing for the players that have stuck it out, the players that are still in the process, still waiting for their chance to get on the field on Saturday. You look at a player like Jaylen Moody. This is an incredible story going into Saturday. One that's not going to make, the front page of any website or, newspaper, ESPN, whatever. But Jaylen Moody's story is really amazing. Going into this game on Saturday, he's played in 55 games for the Alabama Crimson Tide. 55. It's the most on the entire roster. Guess how many he started? 0. Yes, I think he put his name in the transfer portal this summer. In fact, he did. But I think he talked to the coaches, stepped back, and understood that this was going to be his year. To at least fight for that starting spot going into the season. And while it's difficult because you have these young guns pushing you all the time, every year, right? Those inside linebackers, Kendrick Blackshire, Deontay Lawson, young guns pushing you. Guys that are, 5 stars pushing you. And you've been here 55 games. I'm sure, he wanted to be dialed in. And look, going into this game against Utah State now, he is a starter. Will start after 55 games. And I don't think you're going to see that anymore in college football because of NIL, the transfer portal. Nick Saban recently talked about entitlement and said that all his players, nobody's entitled to anything. And I think that implements to everything in life, right? Like, you're not entitled to anything. You have to work for everything that you get. And how many times out there in life are things that much better when we work for them? Have you ever had something just handed to you? You might like it for a little bit, but you don't appreciate it. If you have to work, fight, scratch, claw for something that you really want, you savor it forever. And that's something that Nick Saban has been able to do with these players, right? You got to fight for your spot. You got to earn it. You got to take care of your spot. Every single year, you got to come with it. And I think that's been the catalyst for this organization to be what it is. And I think it goes not only for the players, I think it goes for every single person in Coach Saban's organization from the top down. Last night, on Thursday night, Coach Saban talked about rat poison. Once again, I think when Coach Saban exits, and hopefully that won't be anytime soon, hopefully past 2030, we're always going to remember rat poison. And he talked about rat poison. He said that people keep coming up to him and asking him about the Texas game. And he's like, Texas game? He's like, that's not even on our radar. He was like, Utah State is on our radar. And that's the thing. I mean, you have to have your focus geared towards Utah State. And I promise you, nobody in that locker room, from the coaches to the players, is thinking about Texas, is thinking about Texas A&M, is thinking about any of those back-end games. The entire focus is on Utah State, what's in front of them. And when you look to this Alabama-Utah State game, sure, you could eat the rat poison. I think the spread, the line, is 41.5. Bryce Young's supposed to throw for like 325 yards, according to Prize Picks. Jahmyr Gibbs supposed to run for 100 yards. I think he's going to run for a ton more. But none of that matters. Nothing. None of that. All that's a Fugazi, right? A Fugazi, whatever. It doesn't even matter because Alabama still has to show up. Alabama still has to line up and prove that they are still the quintessential program in college football, which they are. I remember being at SEC Media Days this past July, and Kirby Smart, head football coach of Georgia, said, look, he's like, yeah, we won the national title, but we're not going to be hunted. We are going to do the hunting. And I thought that was a great quote. And that's how these alphas at the top of the college football pyramid have to have that mindset every single day, and they have to implement that to their entire team. And that's true. Now, I'm gonna leave you with a couple things, okay? A couple big nuggets, team nuggets. Second day of practice for Alabama, second day. There's a huge fight, huge team brawl, okay? That's what I heard. Huge, okay? This happens, don't be shocked. This happens probably a lot more than you think across the country. But it's that fight, it's that hunger. And I heard that after the brawl and the dust had settled, there was like, okay, this team wants it. This team's hungry, okay? And check this out, this is my second nugget. This is gonna blow your mind. You ready? It's gonna blow your mind. I've heard that, I don't think this is gonna happen, but it's been talked about, Jalen Milroe playing on the defense somehow. Just because he's that good of an athlete. I think he's like 235 pounds right now, built like Derrick Henry, but I promise you, that has at least been brought up, okay? He's not gonna play because he's the second string quarterback behind Bryce, but it's been talked about behind closed doors. That's what I heard about Jalen Milroe playing on defense. Now, where do you think he could play on defense, right? I mean, I don't know, 235 pounds. I'll let you make your own assumptions inside the comment box. I hope you have a beautiful Friday. I hope you make time for your friends, your family, your loved ones. And I hope you have a wonderful week 1 of the college football season. Be sure to hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. If you like these type of podcasts, these kind of walk and talk, let me know. I don't think I've ever done this before. Usually I'm behind the camera, but I figured since it's such a beautiful day, I'll get outside, I'll do a walk and talk. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com.